Hey guys, today I'm back with another video, and as you can see I finally managed to get to level 15, so pushing just got way easier. So I pushed up to around, I think, top 500 in the world, and the games were just 100 times easier. So I started off this game facing Firecracker and Skeleton Barrel. So I didn't want to activate the King Tower here because I didn't want to waste the Goblin Gang. I'd rather have a little counter push here with the Spear Goblins, either getting some damage or forcing out a response. So at this point I'm thinking he's probably got that OG Mortar Bait deck with the Firecracker and Skeleton Barrel. So since he played the Spear Goblins as well, so he's got Goblin Gang, Fireball, Log and Knight as his last cards. So we're just gonna mirror his knight here in the back as a response. Don't want to princess the back into the knight because we'll still have to respond to the knight. So that would be too much elixir to spend on that. So he plays the Firecracker and we can just respond to that with the princess, play the Ice Spirit and Skeleton Barrel and log everything. And we can't get the King Tower activation here either because the princess ends up killing the Firecracker. But that's fine actually. So just gonna log here with a bit of an awkward barrel to make sure that he can, barrel here to make sure that he can't log both the princess and the goblin barrel. But he actually decides to mortar on the princess, which was not a bad play on his end at all, because it kills the princess and still forces out another response with the offensive mortar. So luckily here the mortar shot actually goes to the tower instead of the princess, so the princess survives, forcing out his Evo Firecracker, which gets distracted by the Goblin Gang, which was very, very nice. And then we get that nice log prediction on the Spear Goblins, and we get a ton of damage on the right side. So here I'm just ready with a rocket in case he decides to go for a mortar, because I didn't want to take any chances, and I felt like I had a bit of an awkward cycle to defend the mortar. Just gonna Ice Root on the Skeleton Barrel and play the Goblin Gang, since we don't have the login cycle, and a counter push wouldn't be bad. So he goes for the Evo Mortar here, just gonna Inferno Tower and Knight on it. Don't want to mess around with the Evo Mortar really, it can be quite risky, so just want to make sure that you defend it properly, and distract it as well, so the Goblins don't log on. So good defense on the Evo Mortar, and we also finally actually get the King Tower activation against the Firecracker, which is going to help out a ton against the Skeleton Barrel. As you see right here, he only gets one hit. So at this point, we're in the lead by 900 damage, so we're looking really good so far. That Evo Knight was a bit of a mistake. I meant for it to distract the Spear Goblin and then proceed to counter the Knight, but it actually switched lanes, which was a bit unfortunate, but it wasn't bad, because it still forced out the Goblin Gang. So here he actually gets a bit of an unfortunate mortar into our Goblin Gang, which was really good for us. A very positive elixir trade. It just died really quickly. So here I decided to actually go on the left lane just to, well, I think that was actually a bit of a mistake. But my thought process was that the knight was tanking, so it might get quite a bit of damage or force out even more elixir. But he just played the Goblin Gang on it, and I'd rather have that little bit of damage on the right side, so I think that was a bit of a mistake. But just gonna pressure him here, so he's in a very bad spot right now. He's playing quite desperately, and we get off a really nice freeze from that Ice Bird. So yeah, as you can see, in this matchup you kind of just want to use the Knight, and especially the Evo Knight as well, to distract his mortars, particularly when they're when it's the Evo mortar. You don't want to take any chances. And as you can see, the Evo Barrel gets a ton of value every single time you play it. And either he has to totally overspend on it, or it's just going to get a lot of damage, which is what I got here. So you can see on the left, his tower is actually down to less than 1,000, but it's getting a bit tricky here because he's got a lot of stuff in the ground. And it's actually a bit risky here, but a log should clean up for the most part, but he actually adds another mortar, so we have to distract, and we get that Goblin Gang down last second. And he spams with another Skeleton Barrel, but we can just put over with an Inferno Tower while distracting the mortar, and we can log the Skeleton Barrel and the Firecracker as well. So here we're just going to rocket everything away to make sure that it dies and take the one mortar hit. It's not going to win him the game, so might as well just play it safe, and we can just log the Skeleton Barrel off and win the first game very nicely. So I think that was a great game against what could be a pretty difficult matchup in my opinion, but we played that very nicely and got the very good value from the Evo Goblin Barrel. So yeah, I just see you guys in the next one. Alright guys, so we're in the next game here against Telly's. Not the greatest starting hand, it's a bit boring honestly. But yeah, so since I got level 15, I actually added the Evo Knight to the deck instead of just playing with the Evo Goblin Barrel. And it helps out a ton, especially in matchups such as the first one against Mortar. The Evo Knight is just such a good tank. So it looks like we're playing against Giant Graveyard since he has the Bowler. That's why it's probably not Jansbaki. But he's playing kind of interestingly here, so he's just going to ignore that Goblin Barrel since he used both Skami, Arrows, and Sap, and the Bowler was on the field, so he had nothing left for the Goblin Barrel, and he just takes 1,800 damage right off the bat. And we can just play Knight and Ice Spirit on the Bowler, which was a really good start for us. And we're not even down Elixir either, so at this point I'm just going to pressure him opposite. Okay, no. We're just going to go for a Princess in the back. Playing it at the bridge in this scenario would be a little bit too aggressive. You kind of want to just controlling the pace. Especially with the Night Witch on the field as well. You see here it's going to help out against the bats. I think I would have lost it if I played it at the bridge, because I wouldn't be able to counter the Night Witch properly. So, really nice Inferno Tower against the Giant. Really bad bats from his end. The Princess just turns around and shoots them. And really clean defense here. He even wasted the Sap on the Inferno Tower. And he placed that Skami too late. I was actually ready to predict it, but I didn't even need to predict it because he played it right into the Princess shot. And here we're just going to take his tower because he doesn't really have anything left for the Goblin Barrel. He's wasted all of his elixir at this point. So we've already won at this point. So I'll just see you guys in the next one. Hey guys, we found our next game here against Renan Light, if that's how he pronounces his name. This time we're going to be playing against the Cannoneer, which I think is probably the strongest tower right now. At least I face it all the time. And I actually just tested it before. I don't have it maxed, but I used one of those boost potions, and I think it's really, really strong, just due to the amount of damage that each shot does. Alright, but let's get into the first game. So, decent start here with one Princess shot. He looks to be playing Hog EQ, which can be a bit of a tricky matchup, but you can definitely win it if you get enough value from your Princess and your Evo barrels as well. So the barrel evolution is actually a great way to sort of win these difficult matchups. I think if before the barrel got the evolution matchups such as the Mortar one from before and Hog EQ and Drill, you know, those kind of matchups, they were really, really tricky. But having the Evo barrel, it just adds that much more pressure, especially in both sides, and that much more log bait, which I think makes it possible for you to win them way more often. So here he's actually going to get one Hog hit, since unfortunately the Icebird did not jump on the Hog Rider, and he decides to EQ as well, which I think was a bit aggressive. So we're going to play the Evo Goblin Barrel here, and as you can see, he actually logs the wrong side and plays the E-Spirit on the left. He was assuming that I played the weak side on the side that the barrel was being tanked for, but I figured he would think that, so I decided to go for the real barrel on the left when the Knight was tanking, specifically so that he wouldn't be able to E-Spirit it. And as you can see, it paid off. We got like 3,000 damage. So at this point, we've pretty much already won. We're up 2,000. I even give him the Princess Kiss emote, and here he even says good game as well. So I think he knows it's over. But still, you can always choke these kind of matchups, so you still just want to make sure that you play it safe and don't mess up at this point. So here we managed to kill the Evo Firecracker with the log, which was really nice. Just want to get that thing off the board as quickly as possible. Don't want to mess around with that. So we get him to waste his Evo Knight here, and we can just counter it with a regular Knight, and he just continues going Hog EQ naked, which is not going to get him anywhere. He needs to build up a push from the back and stack some Firecrackers, or at least get some value with the Evo Firecracker on offense. So yeah, here he kind of outcycles us a little bit, or at least he would if he played anything. So he plays his Hog Rider, and we're just going to rocket it to make sure that we have the Inferno Tower for the Hog Rider next time. And he actually gets a really nice value log here, but that also means that he won't have the login cycle for the Goblin Barrel. So I just knight the bridge, making sure that he won't block it with like a knight of his own. And then I play the Evo Barrel. And unfortunately, as you can see here, I actually misclicked the Inferno Tower. I did not mean to play the Inferno Tower there. I think I meant to Princess the bridge to pressure him even more. But this mistake almost cost us the game, actually. So it got really close at this point. Just decided to log and quickly Princess after at the bridge to make sure that we got pressured him when he didn't expect it. And we managed to get a lot of damage on his tower. Just gonna log in case he plays the Firecracker, but the Goblin Barrel will actually be enough. Alright guys, we're in the next game against somebody whose name I cannot pronounce. He's got the regular Archer Tower now. So we're just gonna start off with the Goblin Barrel in the safe spot with an Ice Grid as well. He plays the log. So he's probably... Okay, so at this point with the Ice Golem, I know it's 2.6. No other deck in the meta runs Ice Golem. So I think it's a good matchup for a log bait, but I think it's also one that's pretty easy to choke. Or at least get behind in single, because they have such a fast cycle that you can actually sometimes get overwhelmed completely when they start outcycling you slowly. So you just need to play accordingly and make sure that that doesn't happen and play it safe. Because you can just rocket cycle them if you get some good barrel damage with the Evo Barrel in single elixir especially. So he does a pretty nice Ice Golem in front of the Musketeer here. We have a really bad cycle for it. So we just play the Goblin Gang on the Hog Rider on the right side. And we get a counter push, but the thing is with these counter pushes, he can easily defend them for very little elixir. So it's not really worth it, and he's still got a Hog Rider hit. But the good thing is he still had some Musketeer on the Princess, which forced out another 4 elixir from him. So I'm just going to play the Ice Breed on the Musketeer, preventing most of the damage. As you can see, the Ice Breed can prevent all but 1 hit from the Musketeer, which is really good. Just going to pressure him with a Goblin Barrel here and force out his log. We have the Evo Knight in cycle, but we can't really do much until we manage to get back to the Evo Goblin Barrel. So it's going to be a while. Just going to play the Evo Knight here in front of the Princess, but he actually decides to Fireball it, and I know he didn't have the login cycle, so I decided to pressure him here with the Evo Barrel, just like I said, going in both lanes. And we get some really nice damage here on the left, since he had to waste his log on the right, since that was the real barrel, and he didn't have Fireball in cycle, and he didn't have a lot of elixir since he Fireballed the Princess. So really good start here. We're up by 1,700 damage, and he goes for a Hog Fireball naked. We just play the Inferno Tower up high, and that's not going to do anything to our tower. So that was a really bad play from his end, just kind of desperate. And now we're up by even more damage. So we're just going to tank for the Princess here with a Knight, and just going to play the Goblin Gang on the Hog Rider on the left lane. I'm not really sure why he went in with that. I think he wanted to sort of pressure with his Evo Skeletons, but that was just completely wasted, since he had to respond to the Goblin Gang as the counter push as well. So that was really bad from him. But yeah, here comes the point that I was talking about, where you need to be really careful that they don't outcycle you too much, because you can actually get overwhelmed from it. And it's still possible to choke from this position. So just gonna cycle a Knight in the right lane to add some extra defense, and he's already back to another Hog Rider. We know we're close to our Inferno Tower, but we get off a quick Goblin Gang Ice Breed, and we defend his Hog Rider, and we can pressure him with a Goblin Brawl, and we get at least 1 hit and force out the Musketeer. So we're still looking good, but unfortunately the Princess did not shoot there. So we have to add another Princess to kill the Evo Skellies, but we're still looking fine. Just gonna play Evo Knight on the Musketeer, and he used the Fireball, so we're actually gonna pressure him a bit with the Goblin Gang as well. And I just played that barrel far back to hopefully just make him confused or anything. But also just to switch it up with Logbit, you really just want to stay unpredictable. So here we play the Ice Breed and then quickly after the Princess to hopefully catch him off guard. Unfortunately it doesn't work, as his Hog Rider push gets pushed to the left, so the Princess gets distracted. But we're still looking fine. We're up by 1,600 damage, which is still really good. So at this point I think I should have just rocketed that Hog Rider. It's going to get at least 1 shot. So this is when it starts getting a bit sketchy. That Hog Rider unfortunately gets 2 shots because I didn't just rocket it. And he's back to another Hog Rider, just continuing the pressure. And those Ice Golems in front are getting really annoying. with the ice bridge just freezing everything, and he's already back to another Hog Rider. So here we just barely get the Inferno Tower down. I think that was a bad log from his end. He was sort of starting to overwhelm, but now he'll have to respond to the barrel, and that one Goblin Stab actually puts it in rocket range. So really good use of the Evo barrel. Anyway guys, that's gonna be it for today's video, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.